Hey, this is John here with The Evolving World. Today I'm doing a quick video on replacing the front lower grille assembly on a 2017 through 21 Chevy Bolt EV. And so this is a very delicate piece of plastic here. It doesn't take much for this to shatter. Stone chips, or if you park stationary on a steep hill on the street and somebody parallel parks and then they bump into you, that's basically all it takes to shatter this thing. So it's a very, very delicate piece here. Probably a common problem here, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and do a video on it to show you how to replace it. So actually in my particular case, this happened 2 years ago. I was very hesitant to replace it because it's a $350 part, or at least it was at one point. Just for a $10 piece of plastic is absurd. But I was able to get this here part by doing some shopping on eBay. I was able to get this for $188. The best price I've seen. Actually, a lot of used parts are going for about $150, so it really was a pretty good deal. Of course, like I said, it's a $10 piece of plastic here, I mean, honestly. But anyway, I got to do what I got to do here. So this is the OEM part, GM. It's not an imitation or anything. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to install this here piece. So I'm using the service manual as a guide. And it tells basically step by step, and I'm going to basically just show you those same steps, but in a video format that's much easier to understand without the service manual. But basically, the overview is real simple, is that this whole front fascia has to come off right here. The whole orange front bumper fascia has to come off, and it's stitched in there pretty good. There's stuff on the top that it's tied to, there's stuff on the side that it's tied to. This piece right here wraps over and snaps onto it. It's actually tied in from the wheel well is tied in there. There's also a big underplate that has to come off, and then there's another, it is also attached to the body as well underneath that. So we're going to have to take a whole bunch of parts off to get to this. The only way we can install this new piece is from the back, so we do have to take that off in order to get to it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first step is to loosen your lug nuts while the car is still down on the ground using a breaker bar such as this right here. Next step is by using 2 floor jacks. You're going to need 2 of them on this particular car. There's a nice, very obvious location here for lifting. And so lifting it on both sides, you want to lift the front end up, and then you're going to need 2 jack stands. And we got this thing tilted forward, as you might notice, and that's for a reason, to keep it, to give us a little bit more clearance, so when we put our jack stand we can get it just a little bit more towards the front. And also another piece of wood would be good to put on top of it. We basically need to be resting it on the frame of the car here. There's a very clear spot here where it's very rigid. There's a little crease right here, and then just inside of that there's a nice solid spot for resting it on. And now with the car jacked up and resting on the jack stands nice and securely, go ahead and take the wheels off, and that gives us nice access to all the areas that we need to get to. Basically this liner right here, and then also underneath the car too. There's this big panel down here. All of this is going to have to come out. Next step is to remove the upper trim piece right here. You're going to need a T15 bit. There's 2 little screws right here. And then these are just press-in fitters right here. There's 4 of them. Use a little screwdriver to loosen it up, and then a tool like this to pry it up. And then these come right out. Next step, you want to use your same T15 bit. You have 4 screws right here that you want to remove on the wheel liner. And then afterwards you want to come down below here. And you got 3 more to remove right here on the front. And then you want to remove the 3 nuts right here. These are 7mm, kind of an oddball size. Take those out as well. You have 10 fasteners collectively per side. You want to go ahead and remove this wheel liner out and up and back as far as you can get it out of the way. Once it's done, you should have something that looks like this right here, where everything's just kind of hanging down now. Also, not mentioned in the manual, there's an extra screw right there. So there's actually a 5th one. There's actually 11 fasteners per side. And also be prepared for a bunch of crap to come falling down. I have all kinds of stuff on the floor here, so look out for that. There's just seems to be kind of a catch area right here. I don't know what it is. Just something about the way it's positioned. despite it being sealed off and everything, it seems to catch a bunch of stuff. So there's going to be stuff coming down. for certain. And then the next step after that, that gives us access to our trim piece up here. This, we have to be able to separate. These two pieces are not attached, they're separate. But this piece is right here, so we have to pull this piece out. There's basically 5 press fit connectors right here. We have to basically pull those out. Next step is take a pair of pliers like so, and then press on the little clips up here. There's 3 of them right here, and then the bottom piece kind of just pulls out. And then there's a T15 right here. It's the final screw right here. You just remove that, and then that separates it from the car, or the front fascia from the frame of the car. With each side done, you can now remove the last bolts that are on the front here. There's 5 of them in the front, and then there's 1 on each side. I found that the ones on each side I removed at the same time as the others on the side to get the wheel liner out. So those may already be out, depending on if you removed them already. But total, there should be 7 more. And once you do that, there's a little tongue thing right here, and that separates it from the front fascia. And this piece will just hang. There's no reason to remove it or anything. But that's what we got right there. Last step as far as tools are concerned is to remove the 10mm bolts right here. Once you take these out, these are already loosened up. There should be just a couple little retainers that are holding it in at that point, nothing else. There's no other fasteners. It's basically just clipped into place. You should be able to pull it out. We'll go ahead and do that next. The next step is to release the fascia from the headlight. There's a little clip right here. You have to reach in here and pry up a little bit until it comes out a little bit. This side hasn't been done yet. This side has. And then lastly, there's another connection to the fender, which is not even described in the service manual. I don't know why, but there's clearly something fastened directly from the fascia to the fender here. We have a little bit of a snag here, so there appears to be a little screw in here. It's I've determined that it's a Torx, a T25, not a T15. Everything else has been a T15. This one's a T25. That's not so much a problem as the fact that it's in such a position I can't get anything in there. Okay, so I got this sucker out. It is a T25, different size than the others, not a T15. This is what I ended up using. I used that, and then I was able to take this little wrench, this little ratchet right here. This thing has come in handy so many times. If you watch all my videos, you see it a lot because it works. It's amazing what this does. Gets into places nothing else does. So with that out, actually you don't even have to totally take it out. You just have to loosen it up quite a bit. Once you do that, it's what's holding this plastic piece in here. So once you loosen that up, it just makes it a whole lot easier to pull this thing out. So whether you want to remove it entirely or just loosen it up significantly, what that does is it allows you to be able to pull this thing out. And you basically just grab it right here and you just pull outwards. And then there's retainers on it. And it gives it enough room, just kind of shake it a little bit as you're doing it, and it comes right out without breaking anything. Same thing over here on the headlight area. This thing is snapped into place right here. A couple places right here. And same thing, you just kind of pull on it, wiggle it a little bit, and it will come out. It's quite a bitch to get this out. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not pretty, but so far we have not broken anything. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on this side. Take that screw out that's holding this in, and then gently pull this out. Okay, this side we started by loosening this up over here. Whoa. And now we're going to continue to pull up. Might be good to have a helper at this point. Probably be not a bad idea to have a helper right here at this point, but it should just come right out without breaking anything. And then out it comes. Okay, so here it is, off the car now. That was quite a procedure. Fortunately, we didn't break anything. I'm actually kind of surprised. Usually any kind of those press fittings usually one or two of them will snap. Something will break and plastic will be flying all over the place, but it's, fortunately, if you just do gentle procedure, starting on one side, working on the other, and such, seems to work pretty well. So anyway, it's out the car. So next step is to remove the power supply right here. So that's what we did right here. There's only one plug here. Everything seems to run through there and then out over to everything else. So yeah, we're all good to go here. So this would be a good time to vacuum up all the dirt that you've created now, all the stuff that's on the floor. There's all kinds of crap that's in here. Unless you have a brand new car when you're doing this, you're going to have dirt all trapped up in here. So it'd be a good time to get that vacked up right now. Next step is to remove the styrofoam piece here. There's a little pointy, teethy grip thing right here. You have to kind of bend that out of the way to pull it off. And then there's another couple little compression little clips right here that you press down, and then that kind of takes it right off. And then this thing comes right out. We'll be reusing that on the new car here. Figure out how to put that on there. It should basically go right back in the same. As a matter of fact, we could probably just do that right now. We could probably just clip this thing right back in. Should line right back up with the same clips there. Next step is to use your pry tool, such as this right here, to pry out all the different wiring. There's quite a bit of quite a few of these little connectors right here. We got about 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side, and looks like we got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 on this side over here. With the thermometer, temperature sensor right here. You want to gently pull that out, and then you want to take out your wire, get that wiring out of the way. Once that's done, now all you have to do is take your little screwdriver, and basically you just press it one at a time, straighten it out, and then you pull up on it. You can start anywhere if you want. I'll probably start on a corner, and then work your way out basically, and work your way around the perimeter. So now that the demolition is complete, let's go ahead and start the construction. So we have our nice new part here. Everything looks good. So let's go ahead and start the construction. So here's our new part installed here. I started at the center on one side, worked my way out, and then worked my way out that way. Then I did the center over there, came back around, and it seemed to go in pretty nicely actually. I don't think we have any problems here. So with that installed, now we're all ready to go here. So what I've done is I've done a little trick here. I'm bungee cording the plastic trim piece, because it really does intrude down in there, and it's like it's going to interfere with our installation. So I did that on both sides right here. Should give us a little bit more ease of installation. So basically installation is reverse of how we removed it. Basically step by step. We just hook up the electrical connector here first thing, and then we're going to go ahead and just press this thing right back in. Here it is, and it went in really easy actually. I was kind of surprised. I mean, you basically just hold it dead center. One hand over here, one hand on the other side, and basically just press it in, and then just work one side in and slap it in up here. And then on this side, you press it right here, slap it over here, slap it over here. Boy, you have to pull it up and slap it in, and that goes right in, lines right up. Everything's looking great. So now all we do is continue on with reverse of removal. Okay, so here it is, all nice and done. I didn't want to go over the procedure of installation because it really truly is in reverse of how you take it off. So it's pretty easy to put it back on. It takes about half the time or even less. And the only thing else I want to mention here is that when you do tighten everything back up again, all the little screws and everything, you want to get them just tight. You don't want to start torquing it or anything. You basically want to put it down just to where it's nice and tight, and then maybe give it about 1/8 of a turn pretty much throughout all of these, because none of them need any kind of serious torquing or anything. And except for the lug nuts on the car. Now that's 100 foot-pounds. But other than that, everything else is pretty easy here. So, yeah, that's pretty much it here. So, guess we'll go ahead and do the final unwrapping here. Ah, how does that look? It's been 2 years since I've seen something like that up here. They're looking pretty good there. Fitment came out really nice, and whether that was an OEM part or not, came out good. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. Many more videos to come.